I think it'd be a problem too if I didn't like ask you about Harlem before we.
Of course. So this is a dream. I've always wanted to live in Harlem. As you heard me mention before, my favorite period of literature from Black American history is the Harlem Renaissance. I love the history. I love the Apollo. I love the attitude of the people. I love the fact that it's so rich and steeped in Black history, like from Adam Clayton Powell to Malcolm X to just all these just amazing folks, Langston Hughes. And like, I went to Langston Hughes' house for a book reading and almost burst into tears. Like, I was so moved just to be in that house with someone who inspired me to write, you know, who's such an important figure to literature, period, to English literature, you know? And so like, I love Harlem. Like, I just think it's beautiful. And I live on 110th across the street from the park. And I live in a very, 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 very old building, but I love it. And I'm probably going to be here for a minute, unless, you know, coronavirus. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. Whenever I used to go to New York every year. Whenever I went, I either stayed in Harlem and Brooklyn, and there's definitely a vibe in Harlem that is like uniquely itself.
Yes.
And you know, one of the things I was trying to get at when it was related to like this presidential conversation is that often what goes overlooked is the importance of you know, local politics and how issues are being addressed locally. Would you say that there's something happening in Harlem that other like Black policymakers or Black leaders should be taking and trying to bring, or that they like sort of a best practice that they've achieved?
You know, I think historically there's probably some things you can look at that would be very informative. Right now, Harlem's going through a spate of gentrification. It's pushing a lot of the residents who've always lived here out, which is very sad. Like, you could argue in some cases that the Harlem that we all grew up reading about and that we loved, like, there's still remnants of it, but it's just not what it used to be now that it is almost, you know, fully gentrified in many aspects. So it's not completely, like, you can still go to certain parts of Harlem, especially if you go to East Harlem, if you go to Spanish Harlem, like, it's still very much what it's always been in certain neighborhoods and certain pockets. But gentrification has had a huge impact. If there's any learnings, I feel like, around gentrification that people could probably take, a good place to study is New York's Chinatown, because Chinatown has not changed at all. Like, like I don't know how they've done this. Like, someone needs to do a story on this. Someone needs to investigate it, because the Chinatown is still Chinatown. Like, it's still full of the same residents who've always lived there. It's full of the same businesses that have always been there. Like, the only thing that could really hurt it is the coronavirus, what's happening right now, which is impacting all business and all people, regardless of their background. But they've done a good job of keeping gentrification out of Chinatown. You know, so that's something definitely worth exploring.
Yeah. Thank you, Miss Belton. Danielle Belton is on IG at Belton Danielle, Twitter at Black Snob with an S, BLACKSNOB. Editor-in-chief of The Root.
That is correct.
Badass, unapologetically Black. There we DIE, about that life, but not that life. I saw that on your one of your.
Yeah, that is me. Like, I am a marshmallow. So it's like, even though I'm from St. Louis and St. Louis people are tough as nails, I am not.